A GitHub repo with one file and zero code just passed 220,000 stars, combined across its main repo and an organization mirror. No application, no clever algorithm, just 4 rules written in a markdown file. Here's exactly what they say, why they actually work, and why so many people are putting this in front of their AI coding agent right now. The file is called CLAUDE.md, written by a developer named Forrest Chang at the end of January this year. It didn't come out of nowhere. It came directly out of a public complaint from Andrej Karpathy about how AI coding agents actually fail in real use. Not the dramatic failures you see in staged demos. The small, repetitive ones that waste your time on basically every task you hand off. Forrest turned that complaint into 4 rules and put them in one file, and the response was fast enough that it's now sitting at roughly 220,000 stars between the original and a mirror copy. It's also not an isolated case. Single-file behavioral guides like this have become their own small trend recently. A front-end design skill reportedly crossed 277,000 installs. There's a decision-making skill, a writing voice skill, a file organizer skill, all working the same way, plain text instructions instead of actual code. The pattern says something real about where a lot of practical value is right now. It's not always in a new tool. Sometimes it's in better written instructions for the tool you already have. So, the actual 4 rules. Rule 1. Think before coding. The exact line is, quote, "State your assumptions explicitly, if uncertain. Ask," end quote. This targets the single most common failure mode there is. An agent quietly guesses what you meant, builds the wrong thing with full confidence, and you don't find out until you're reviewing finished work instead of answering a 10-second question up front. The fix isn't more capability, it's just refusing to guess silently. Rule 2. Simplicity first. Quote, "Minimum code that solves the problem, nothing speculative," end quote. Left alone, agents tend to add abstractions, utility functions, and error handling for situations that don't exist yet, because more code looks like more thoroughness. This rule explicitly removes that incentive. A 50-line solution that does the job beats a 500-line solution that anticipates problems you don't actually have. Rule 3. Surgical changes. Quote, "Touch only what you must. Clean up only your own mess," end quote. If you've ever asked for one small fix and gotten back a diff that touched 12 unrelated files, this is the rule for exactly that problem. Match the existing style in the file. Only remove code that your specific change made obsolete, nothing else. Rule 4. Goal-driven execution. Quote, "Define success criteria. Loop until verified," end quote. This turns a vague request into something with an actual, measurable definition of done, and forces a verification step before the task gets marked finished, instead of just stopping when the output looks plausible. What I actually respect about this file is the line that comes right after the 4 rules. It says, quote, "These guidelines bias toward caution over speed. For trivial tasks, use judgment," end quote. That's a real acknowledgement that applying all 4 rules to every tiny task would slow you down for no good reason. It's positioned as a default, not a law. And that one sentence is probably part of why it spread as fast as it did. People trust guidance more when it admits its own trade-off out loud instead of overselling itself. This maps onto something I ran into directly while setting up this exact channel. Working through MCP server connections this week, Rule 1 specifically would have saved real time. More than once, I assumed a configuration flag meant one thing when it actually meant something else, and only found out after something quietly failed downstream. State the assumption out loud, or just ask, and you skip that entire detour before it costs you anything. If you want to actually use this yourself, the file is linked below. Drop it into your own project as your agent's behavioral guide and see whether it changes how your AI coding sessions actually go, not just whether it sounds reasonable on paper. The voice you're hearing right now is generated with the AI voice tool linked in the same spot. 4 sentences, 0 code, 220,000 stars, because it names a problem almost everyone using AI coding agents has genuinely hit, not a hypothetical one. Next video, back to the MCP setup from before, putting this exact stack to an actual test.